Welcome to Physics of Gamification, the podcast where science meets behavior design. I'm your host, Hakan Uzer, co-founder of Motivacraft. Each episode, we connect one physics principle with one core mechanic in gamification. Not just to sound smart, but to understand how people really behave in systems, especially in gamified systems. Today's idea: we are opening the quantum box again. Because your users, right now, are neither engaged nor disengaged. They are both, until you act. Let's dive in. You've probably heard of Schrödinger's cat, that poor imaginary feline locked in a box with a radioactive trigger. If the atom decays, the cat dies. If it doesn't, it lives. But until someone opens the box, the cat is both alive and dead at the same time. It exists in a superposition of states, a quantum maybe. Now, let's take that eerie little metaphor and point it at your users. You have launched your platform, built your system. People have signed up, but you haven't checked in on them yet. Here's the truth. Until your system engages with them, until it asks something, prompts something, reflects something, those users are Schrödinger's users. Not active, not inactive. Not in, not out. Just maybe. Most platforms make a critical mistake. They classify anyone who hasn't clicked recently as inactive. That's lazy. And worse, it's blind to behavior. Let's borrow from quantum theory. A system can't know a particle's state until it interacts with it. Likewise, you don't really know if a user is drifting or just waiting until you engage. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they are waiting for the right mission. Maybe they were hyped at onboarding and then the system just left them in silence. So, instead of labeling them as inactive, ask yourself, what did we do to re-engage them? Because silence from a system isn't passive. It's measurement in the wrong direction. And here's where it gets interesting. In quantum physics, measuring something changes it. The very act of observing collapses that maybe into something real. That applies to humans too. Imagine this. You have a user who hasn't touched up the app in 3 weeks. You send a push notification. Still on the path to becoming a master navigator? That message alone collapses the wave. The user suddenly realizes, oh, right, that's who I was trying to be a couple of weeks ago. You didn't just ask them to come back. You reminded them of their potential, and now their state isn't fuzzy anymore. They are thinking, choosing, and acting. Let me tell you about 2 platforms we have worked with. System A waited for their users to act. If someone didn't log in for 7 days, it just assumed that the user is inactive. You should stop sending missions. Guess how many came back after this silence? Barely any. System B treated inactivity as unknown, not final. At day 5, it sent a playful message. Your spaceship's still at launch. Ready when you are, Commander. Users replied. Some came back just to say they weren't ready yet. But the conversation reopened the loop. That's what smart systems do. They don't just track activity. They nudge potential into action. So, how do you design systems that don't shut the box? Start with signals. Give subtle prompts. A mission suggestion, a reminder of progress, a title they choose. These aren't calls to action. They are sparks. Tiny, respectful pings that say, we still see you. Measure lightly. Don't push too hard or too often. Measurement collapses the state, but the wrong kind of measurement collapses it into disengagement. Keep possibility open. Don't freeze users into labels like inactive or abandoned. Always leave the system open to re-engagement, because motivation can reappear with the right nudge. Treat feedback as interaction. Even passive data, like what they hover over, what they scroll past, can be a clue for you. Use it to shape the next encounter. Don't forget, you are not just designing a journey, you are navigating a probability field. Every moment you wait to engage is a moment that potential slips into apathy. Here are my takeaways. Don't ever assume inactivity is final. Schrödinger's users are in a maybe state. Your system, your nudges, your notifications can collapse them toward action. Gentle, meaningful interactions reawaken potential. Data isn't enough by itself. It's the timing and tone of your interaction that matters the most. I want you to go into your platform analytics this week. Find the users you have marked as inactive. Now ask yourself, did you actually reach out? Not just with a generic email, but with something that reflects who they are or who they were trying to become. Write one message. Send it to just maybe 10 of them. You'll be surprised how many cats crawl out of that box alive. You've been listening to Physics of Gamification. This podcast doesn't have a studio budget, but it does have ideas worth testing. If this episode helped you rethink user engagement, share it with your team or with someone building a product that deserves more love. Next time, we'll talk about wave-particle duality, because your users, they are both goal-driven players and emotional people. And you've got to design for both. Until then, stay in the flow.